We all know that very few have the gift or even the curse of seeing the future, and no one in this select group is more renowned than Vanga, yes. Born as Vangelia Vandeva Surcheva in 1911 and died in 1996. Vanga was a Bulgarian woman known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans. She lost her sight as a teen after an accident, and since then, many people from Eastern Europe testified that she had prophetic gifts, spiritual vision, the ability to communicate with invisible beings, and so on. What no one doubted was that if Vanga spoke one of her prophecies, it would come true. Family members, visitors or friends or simply travelers had the obligation to take note because always in one way or another, they would end up coming true. Knowing how to interpret them is a tough task, but here I am to bring you exclusively what you were waiting for. Stay with me and don't even think about missing the end because I am El Documentalista and this is Vanga. Prophecies for the year 2026. From the shadows to the light, from mystery and intrigue, touching on taboo topics. And I discovered in the midst of stubbornness that parallel worlds exist, and through my mistakes, I learned humility. Making a pact with the heavens. I am the documentarian. Number 1. The Vatican fights against a monster, a machine that devours heads. 2 priests fight, one dressed in white and one dressed in black. Tears by the millions. About this hidden prophecy, for years you'll find that so-called experts don't hesitate to point out that Vanga was referring to the rise of a new form of punishment, like a modern kind of guillotine, where an executioner would cut off the heads of those sentenced. And they falsely claimed that some authoritarian regime could implement it this year for population control. But she was wrong. This prophecy predicts something far worse and worldwide. Yes, Vanga prophesied. Truly, in 2026, millions of men and women around the world will stop thinking for themselves and will accept as unquestionable the decisions made for them. A new technology? From simple things like what music to listen to or how to dress, to more profound ones like who to love, and even what to believe in. And that's what he meant by devour your head. And here we're not talking about a super artificial intelligence program, but about a device that aims to improve the quality of life and the way humans think. But does it really replace their freedom with dependence? The powerful Catholic Church will come out this year to protest against this new technology, and the Pope himself will condemn its use. But he won't be alone. Another religion will join the battle. But maybe it will be too late for millions whose minds will already be deeply controlled by this device that constantly whispers to them that God no longer has a place in the bleak world of the future. Number 2. What is that? In the sky, when fingers point at the stars, they fall by the arrow. Those who demand from the pilgrim will arrive angry by the hundreds. There isn't much controversy about this prophecy. In 2026, something in the sky makes the world tremble, and the governments manage to bring it down. A terrible idea. There are many who point out that it's an extraterrestrial ship, and they believe that Papa Vanga prophesied that the unidentified flying object would fall to Earth after being hit by a missile. And these remains will be claimed by different countries in a desperate struggle to cover up what happened. But pay attention because, as you already know, there are numerous valid and truthful statements. They do not hesitate to say that the United States government, the Vatican, the Russians, and some other world powers, as institutions and states, have in their possession the bodies and ships of various types of aliens that have crashed throughout history on our planet. And to make matters worse, there are quite a few who testify that they also have living specimens, so one of those could be the pilgrim, the one the prophecy says they will come to find. In that case, What will happen is that in this 2026, many will see something in the sky, something that shouldn't be there. The next thing they will witness is the trail of smoke and fire in the air from the ground missiles that are on their way to shoot it down. And it's likely that they'll succeed, although, as always, immediately. Will they say it was just a scientific balloon or blame some opposing regime for being responsible for invading the airspace? The truth is, shooting down this craft in 2026 will anger its kind. And maybe hundreds or thousands of them, the entire fleet will arrive lighting up the night sky, and as Baba Vanga says, they will be very, very angry. Number 3. The money is gone, few know it, and they stay silent. Lightning strikes the house of gold, fire only spares the travelers. We have to be clear here. Baba Vanga is talking about an economic crisis. Why? Because in every single one that has happened throughout history, there have always been those who knew how to anticipate them and kept it a secret. The necessary and sufficient time to withdraw and secure their own money without millions panicking. The lightning symbolizes how sudden and essential it is. This 2026, many will go to bed feeling at ease, thinking they have their finances under control, and the next day they'll find out they have absolutely nothing left. We're clearly discussing a crisis related to one or more cryptocurrencies. Since the prophecy states the fire that burns everything won't affect the old ones. And as we say on this channel, you often have to listen more to the elders. They survived this harsh world that never stops hitting you when you least expect it for a reason. Older people are particularly distrustful of cryptocurrencies and prefer traditional investments. After all, they know that the extraordinary profits promised by influencers who claim to be experts in the field never last very long. In fact, they usually disappear as quickly as lightning strike number 4 falls. The fountain of youth to the highest bidder, whether it's their mother, their daughter, or their grandmother, they'll say the same thing: the poor rest in peace. This 2026 will be a revolutionary year for medicines and technologies dedicated to treatments that delay aging. Yes, this year the announcement of the Fountain of Youth will be made. The results will speak for themselves. The difference between people of the same age, whether they undergo the treatment or not, will be so obvious that everyone will want a taste of that precious medicine that drives away the specter of old age, but ethical debates will soon follow. Why? Because whoever can sell youth, believe me, will put the highest possible price on it. And even so, there will be millions waiting their turn, willing to give everything they have to look more beautiful. 2026 will be the announcement and the beginning if Papa Vanga's prophecy comes true over time. The physical differences between the rich and the rest will be so noticeable that maybe in the future we'll only see one kind of old people. The poor, only they will die, and they will be the only ones who can rest in peace. Number 5. The beginning of the zombie apocalypse. The barricades are up, the weapons are ready, faces full of fear, oceans of walkers move toward the noise. Papa Vanga, in his prophecy, describes what could be a zombie movie for this 2026. Come on, it's got everything. Some survivors group together with their weapons ready, waiting for a horde of zombies to get close enough to them to start shooting. That apocalyptic scenario can't be ruled out, but in my opinion, it would be a mistake not to analyze it more deeply. And here I must in just a minute tell you that Papa Vanga was born in 1911. As I already mentioned, but in Strumica, a region that throughout her life repeatedly changed hands and not through peaceful means. That's right, from a very young age she experienced loss, displacement and poverty caused by the Balkan Wars and later by the First and Second World Wars. The latter was especially devastating in her city, with bombings, hunger, and entire villages destroyed and forced to leave as refugees to other places. That's why, when this prophecy from Papa Vanga speaks of oceans of walkers moving toward the noise, it's very likely that she's not referring to zombies as everyone thinks, but to migrants, those she was used to hearing about. Men, women, and children forced to leave their homes because of war, invasion, or a natural crisis that overnight forced them to escape only with what they had, searching for the noise of civilization and leaving behind the silence of death. But no one will want to take them in the future. Many will say that 2026 was the year of the zombies. Not because of those who will march into exile, but because of those who, wielding weapons and the laws of men, will abandon them to their fate. 2026 will be a year when solidarity, kindness, and ultimately the humanity of many will be just a memory of when we were whole and could say we had a soul. Number 6. Have you learned how to swim? Those who live up high get their feet wet, few of them seen among gray waters after the tremor. This 2026 might be the best year to call your real estate agent and ask them to find you a nice property in the mountains. The one you always wanted high up, the one that will keep you safe when you hear the loud noise that comes before the rising of the waters. Yes, this year that's beginning. An earthquake, a gigantic explosion, or the incessant rains will cause every defense and precaution to fail, and the roar of a colossal flood will claim too many lives and leave tens of thousands with nothing. Many talk about a disastrous tsunami, others about a dam that breaks. Now, how can we determine where this will happen? That's the hardest part. But if we analyze that the prophecy mentions gray waters, does it mean they will be dirty like the ones we've seen in the tsunamis in Japan? This is because in the city, it's the trash, debris, fuels, and materials dragged by the currents. They give them that coloration. And also, Baba Vanga says that there will be few left among the waters, which reveals to us that maybe it will happen in a place with hills, peaks, or elevations around, where those who manage to get to safety look at each other from a distance. Meanwhile, what used to be a city is now underwater. What still looks like Japan, but also like Indonesia, Chile, New Zealand, the Philippines, Mexico, Peru, the United States, Portugal, or Turkey. However, if the floods were the result of abnormal rains, major storms, or something like that, it would no longer be possible to determine a country or a region. Any of us, no matter where you're watching from, we could all be one of those victims of a future disaster. Number. Go to the shelter and don't look up. In the north of green and flowers, the arm that steals life crushes and takes away. Sorry to have to confirm it for you, but this 2026 a disaster caused by one or more tornadoes will occur between April and June in the United States. Why? Because the prophecy is clear. Baba Vanga was left blind after being lifted by a tornado that tore her eyes and threw her into a neighboring field. Those who have experienced something similar say that it is an experience of extreme terror. It's like an arm descends from the sky and lifts you up. On the other hand, we say that this is about the United States. More specifically, it could refer to Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, or Nebraska because it talks about the northern country, but where the flowers and grasses are green at the time of the tragedy. And in those states, tornado activity coincides with the end of spring, when the grass is green and the flowers are at their peak. That's why I conclude that Papa Vanga predicted an event involving a tornado powerful enough to destroy everything in its path and taking something away. What does it take away? We don't know exactly. But it could refer to people's homes or lives. Time will tell. In the meantime, when tornado season begins, pay attention to the alarms so you can get to shelter number 8 on time. The last will be first for a short time, and for a few days there will be celebrations. Justice delayed does not endure in the great fire. In 2026, a weaker country will attack a stronger one. That strike will be notorious and will bring great joy among those who have political affinity with that country. Is it because of being at a disadvantage, or simply because they can't tolerate the powerful and want to see them fall? But that won't last long. The joy, the courage, the displays of support around the world won't materialize into concrete actions. And the strongest country, wounded in its pride, will react like a furious beast, leaving a clear message: you can hit us, but you will never be able to kill us. Some believe it will be a one-time action, like the assassination of a president, the downing of powerful airplanes, or the sinking of a great ship. In any case, that action will make the giant look ridiculous, and its response will be brutal. Number 9. 2 countries get richer and one sinks. The magical lands go from south to north. Abundance for 2, the third falls because of ambition. Baba Vanga spoke about what is now known as rare earths, a group of 17 chemical elements widely used in advanced technology because of their magnetic, luminescent, and high conductivity properties. They are used to make powerful magnets, batteries, screens, wind turbines, electric cars, medical equipment, and military technology. The prophecy states that 2 countries with them will advance, but a third will fall into disaster due to ambition. They will see the value of rare earths, paria, according to the element. But a country or region could become the new Dubai if it has this type of land in quantity and manages to reach a good agreement for its extraction. Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico have rare earths, and the United States has a huge appetite to buy them. So this 2026 could bring great benefits to at least 2 of those 3 countries. The ones who first solve everything related to environmental preservation with the new technologies. Otherwise, the profits would be nothing compared to the enormous costs they will pay for neglecting this aspect. Why? Because the extraction of rare earths requires very aggressive chemical processes that could contaminate water and soil, generating toxic waste and, in some cases, radioactive waste. And finally, number 10, God's friend is called an angel. He speaks, there is no path. God will visit him 3 times. In 2026, someone, maybe it will be you, will be visited by a heavenly force that will give them a mission. According to Baba Vanga, the task will be that of a messenger, a prophet. Someone who, if they accept, will have to face the unknown. They won't be able to rely on what they know or what their parents have taught them. None of that. There is no path because he will have to make it himself. It won't be easy or fun. People are more focused on worshipping money and fame than on listening to deep or new ideas about spirituality or about God's plans. But if there is a new prophet, does that mean there is hope? Why? It's said that after each ancient prophet, the world improved a bit. Although almost always those who bring a message of change come to make people uncomfortable, a prophet, he questions what society avoids: injustice, corruption, hypocrisy, and untouchable customs. That kind of truth generates immediate rejection, especially among those who lose power or comfort. That's why, in most traditions, prophets are persecuted, accused of madness, exaggeration, or rebellion, and live a very difficult life marked by misunderstanding. However, when the prophet is no longer around, his message starts to become clear. The ideas that once made people uncomfortable begin to transform society and inspire fairer laws, spiritual changes, moral reforms, or movements that improve the lives of future generations. This paradox is a recurring one. The messenger suffers, but the seed he planted ends up making the world a better place. Accepting is not easy, but according to the prophecy, God Himself will visit him on 3 occasions. If you are the chosen one, would you really miss the chance to meet the most powerful being in the universe? I am the documentarian, and this was 2026, The Prophecies of Baba Vanga. If you've made it this far, it means you're one of my best followers. Leave me a comment with the word #2026. That way, I'll know which of you made it to the end, and maybe I'll leave you a nice comment. Thank you and enjoy the song.